Hello students, in today's lecture I will discuss about interventricular septum formation, and at the last we will see if there is a abnormality occurs in the formation of this septum, there is a formation of ventricular septal defects. So let's discuss about the formation of this septum. Now when we will see the formation of interventricular septum, it is a septum which divides your primitive part of the ventricle into the right and left ventricle. Clear? So whenever you are talking about the formation of interventricular septum, we are actually talking about the separation of right and left ventricle. Now dear students, whenever you will read the parts of interventricular septum, it has been divided into the three parts. The first part is known as muscular part, the second part is known as bulbar part, and the third part is known as membranous part. Now when you will see the formation of these three parts comes from three different sources in the heart tube. Now when you will talk about the muscular part arises from the floor of your primitive ventricle. When you will see the bulbar part arises from the ridges which are arising or which are forming into the bulbus cordis. That's why it is known as bulbar ridges. Now you know that bulbus cordis is a most cranial part of the heart tube. Then you will have the membranous part. Now this membranous part develops from the atrioventricular cushions and also develops from the bulbar ridges which are contributing not only in the bulbar part but also in the membranous part. So in this diagram, what you are able to appreciate that this is your interventricular septum. Now this interventricular septum is divided into the three parts. This area is the bulbar part, the middle portion is the membranous part, and this lowermost area is your muscular part. In here you can see this yellow color area, this is a bulbar part, this is your membranous part, and this lowermost blue color area is your muscular part of interventricular septum. So dear students, we will discuss few lines about each and every part one by one. So first is muscular part. Now when we are talking about the formation of interventricular septum, it starts after the completion of the folding. Now in my class of the folding, I told you about the formation of a bulboventricular cavity. So when you know there is initial a U-shape folding is there, later on the folding convert into the S shape. Now here when there is a S shape folding occurs, now this is the groove. Now this groove is known as bulboventricular sulcus, but once the folding will take place in a S shape, later on this bulboventricular sulcus disappears from the surface, and inside the heart tube there is a formation of a common cavity which is known as bulboventricular cavity. So when you are writing the muscular part, the first and most important event is formation of bulboventricular cavity, and it occurs by the fusion of conus part and primitive ventricle. So what is happening? This bulboventricular sulcus disappears from the surface of heart tube. Now this bulboventricular cavity contains two parts, the lower dilated part. Now this dilated part contributed by the primitive ventricle. Upper conical part, this upper conical part is contributed by the conus cordis. Clear? Now what will happen? There is a formation of muscular ridge. Now this ridge arises from the floor of bulboventricular cavity. So when you are writing the formation of the muscular part, the first thing is that the muscular part of interventricular septum grows from the floor, and this is the floor of bulboventricular cavity, and this is going to divide your ventricles into the two halves. Now my dear students, once they are from the floor, this muscular interventricular septum arises, it grows towards the septum intermedium. Now what is septum intermedium? In my class of formation of the interatrial septum, I also explained this septum intermedium, which is also known as atrioventricular cushion. Now in this diagram what you can see that this is your atrioventricular canal. In this canal first there is a appearance of the atrioventricular cushion, and this cushion divides this canal into the right and left half. Now this cushion is also known as septum intermedium, and from the floor there is a appearance of this muscular part of interventricular septum, and this is growing towards the AV cushion. But dear students, this muscular ventricular septum which start to grow towards the AV cushion ceases the growth. That means it is not continually growing and growing towards the cushion. At one point its growth stops, and once the growth will stop, there is a formation of a communication between the right and left ventricle, and that is known as interventricular foramen. So here you can see that this foramen is present, and this foramen lies cranial to this muscular part of interventricular septum. Now there is a second part, is the bulbar part. Now dear students, when you are talking about the formation of bulbar part, you always keep this thing in mind that bulbar part formation always and always associated with the division or septation of the outflow tract, that is known as truncus arteriosus. Because we know that truncus arteriosus divide into the two big channel, one is known as aorta, one is known as pulmonary trunk. So when the bulbar part of interventricular septum is forming, simultaneously there is a division of truncus arteriosus will also take place. So my dear students, what is the first event is there in the formation of bulbar part? Answer is appearance of bulbar ridges. Now what is bulbar ridges? Now bulbar ridges is again a kind of cushion just like the atrioventricular cushion. So here you have to first understand that when we are talking about the cushions inside the heart tube, these are two cushions. One is known as AV cushion, another is known as the bulbar cushion. And these bulbar cushions are having some difference from the AV cushion. Now what is the difference? Now when you will see the bulbar cushion, generally the cushions develop from the endocardium. Now these AV cushions which are developing here, and these AV cushions basically dividing the atrium and the ventricle are known as atrioventricular cushion. But when you will see the outflow tract, in outflow tract again there is a endocardial cushions develop. But dear students, these endocardial cushions are different from these AV cushion because the endocardial cushion of outflow tract invaginated by the neural crest cells. Now this is a very important question for your exam, that how these cushions of outflow tract are different from the cushions of AV valve. Now how this AV canal cushion are different? Only answer is because of the neural crest cells which invade these bulbar cushions. So when you will go in the derivatives of neural crest cells, you will find that neural crest cells also contribute into the formation of the septa of truncus arteriosus, as well as they contribute in the formation of semilunar valve. Why? Because this area or your outflow tract which is divided by bulbar septum is having the invasion of neural crest cell. Clear? So the cushion tissue of the outflow tract consists both endocardium derived cushion as well as the neural crest derived cushion tissue. Clear? So my dear students, when you are writing the bulbar part formation in interventricular septum, the first step is that there is a formation of subendocardial tissue in the conus area, and these are known as bulbar ridges. But these bulbar ridges are also having the invasion of neural crest cell. That's why these bulbar ridges are different from these classical atrioventricular cushions. Now what will happen? Later on the bulbar ridges fuses, and by the fusion of these two bulbar ridges, there is a appearance of the septum. Now this septum grows again caudally towards your AV cushion, or it is trying to meet with the muscular part of interventricular septum. So in this diagram, what you are able to appreciate that this is the formation of your bulbar septum from the upper part. This is the formation of the muscular part of interventricular septum, and in the middle portion still this portion is not formed, and still the communication of right and left ventricle is there. That means there is a still persistence of communication through the interventricular foramen. Now in the next part what will happen, that you will have a formation of the third portion, and that is known as membranous part. So by the 8th week the gap of interventricular foramen is filled, and that area is filled by the membranous part of interventricular septum. Now what is the source of membranous part? Now here in this diagram, when we are talking about the formation, now majority source comes from this AV cushion. Now this AV cushion will proliferate and the tissue will form here, and this is known as membranous part. But dear students, this margin of this membranous part, which is adjacent to the bulbar septum, contributed by the cells of your bulbar ridges. So that's why it is always said that membranous part majority comes from the AV cushion, but it is also contributed by right and left bulbar ridges. Clear? Now when you are talking about the membranous part, it has been divided into the anterior portion and posterior portion. Now when you will see this anterior and posterior portion, you will realize that anterior portion is classically dividing the right and the left ventricle. But when you will see the posterior portion, you will realize that posterior portion is not divide the ventricles, but the posterior portion divides right atrium from the left ventricle. Clear? So this is the again important thing to understand. And there is one more important thing is that intraatrial septum and interventricular septum not develop in a single line. Now here in these two diagrams, you first try to understand that this is the lower part which is forming the interventricular septum. Here in the upper part you will see this is the interatrial septum, and they are not in a single line. The second thing is that this area of your septum separating this right atrium from the left ventricle, so this communication has been blocked by the proliferation of the atrioventricular cushion cells, which are going to form membranous part of interventricular septum. Clear? Now the lastly you will have applied is known as ventricular septal defects. Now ventricular septal defects has been divided into the different variety. The first variety is when there is a deficiency in the development of proximal outflow tract. Now when we are talking about proximal outflow tract, actually it is related with the defective formation in the bulbar part. Then you will have failure in the fusion of the muscular part of the septum with the membranous part of the septum. Then you will have a atrioventricular cushion defect. Now my dear students, these atrioventricular cushions I told you have a major role in the formation of membranous part of the interventricular septum. So if there is a atrioventricular cushion defects, the child born with the membranous ventricular septal defect, and these membranous VSDs are the most common type of VSDs. Then you will have insufficient development of the muscular component, and lastly if there is a altered hemodynamics in the heart tube. Now here in this image you can see that if this red color area, which is known as membranous part, will not form, then there is a presence of the membranous kind of ventricular septal defect. Now ventricular septal defect always have a consequence, and that is your left to right shunt. And you know that when there is a left to right shunt is taking place after birth, what is happening? Large amount of the blood is entering into the right side of the heart, and that's why there is a over pulmonary circulation is seen. That means a high amount or large amount of the blood is entering into the lungs, and this is always lead to the complications. So what is the treatment? Most of the time if there is a membranous VSDs, they simultaneously heal, or if they persist, they can be repaired surgically. Clear? So now at the end of this session of the interventricular septum formation, what we understand that the septum is having the three part. From above downward, it is bulbar part, membranous part and muscular part. The second thing is that bulbar part comes from the bulbar septum, and the lower part, muscular part, comes from the muscular ridge. The middle portion comes from the atrioventricular cushion plus the bulbar septum. And the ultimate thing is that if there is a defect in the partitioning, there is a formation of a ventricular septum defect, and these defects are leading to the left to right shunt, which is going to form the defective pulmonary circulation. Clear? So this is all for the session. Thank you.